G'day, I'm Steve. Steve here, Woodworking Masterclass. Welcome back to the workshop. And if this is your first visit, well, I hope you enjoy it and come back and join us in future episodes as well. What we're doing here is part 3 of a 6-part program on how to make a hexagonal box, and I'm putting some inlay, marquetry and veneering work into it. I've just finished filming what you're about to see, and I've realised it's taken me a lot longer than I thought it was. This episode I'll take you right up to when you actually start cutting out the veneer. If you want to watch the entire video of me cutting this leaf out, go there, woodworkingmasterclass.com.au, sign up for the free workshop and the e-workshop, and the video will be posted there. So what we ended up with last week was the bottom stuck onto the box, and I'd glued the top up and inlaid a very small sunburst pattern to go with it. So here's the top, or the bottom I should say, and that's nice and firmly glued on there. And the top we glued up. If you can remember, I left a Perspex cover on it, and I've left that cover on there still. So that's all nice and glued down. All I've got to do now is go over to the bandsaw and the router, and what I'll do is clean that up and shape it to size. Okay, now as you can see, I've rough cut that on the bandsaw, and we've got a little bit of overage around the edges, and the same for the base. What I'll do is go over to that little router table I spoke about last episode, and I'll clean them up. And I've just got 2 guests walked in. You want to say hi?
Hello.
This is my grandchildren, or 2 of them, and they're going to be doing a project a little bit later on, eh kids?
Yes.
Okay?
I'm awesome.
You're awesome. Well, there you go. We've got a bit of self-confidence issues to work on there, but it's good. Okay?
And I'm crazy.
All right. They're good kids. Okay, let me get back to this. I'll catch you later. Thanks for coming down. I'll put that on this week's YouTube video. Same for the top, only drop the router bit down. And I want it running just on that Perspex. Just before I actually cut that, what I'd like you to note is I've put a lot of extra double-sided glue to hold that Perspex in place, or else it's going to slip, and that can be very dangerous. So make sure that it's held down nice and firmly. Okay, and yes, the grandkids had left, so it wasn't noisy for their ears, and it was very safe. Now, as you can see, I've now profiled around the bottom and the top. I'll get the spatula and separate the Perspex from the veneer. Just be careful not to mark the veneer in the process. It's just an icing spatula. Again, pinched it from the kitchen. Now, it's an idea with this double-sided glue. As soon as you remove the cover, just get rid of the glue. That way it doesn't go hard. And the same on the veneer. Just rub it off. Now, don't worry about these corners if they're a little bit out or whatever. We're going to actually take some of this off and put solid edging on later on, so it really won't matter. What I'll do is get rid of all those little sticky tape sutures that we glued it together with last week. And the best way to get those little squares off, I think you can see them flashing there, is with a card scraper. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I think I did a video about using card scrapers, how to sharpen them. Well, here's an ideal use for one. The best way to use this is I've got some bench dogs there, bit of timber that's narrower than the piece I'm going to scrape. I'll put it there along between the bench dogs, use that as a fence, put my job up to it, and then going with the grain, just move forward like that. And you can see the sticky tape's coming off, and we're getting some slight shavings there. I'm not sure if you can see those, but there's some shavings coming off the veneer. But what I don't want to do, I don't want to remove too much of the veneer. All I want to do is get rid of those little sticky tape squares. And to use the scraper, my cutting edge is right on here, it's a little burr. I'm actually bending it with my finger and thumb on both sides and bend it and then push it forward. And that gives me a nice, gentle cutting edge. Let's go over and make sure I've got them all. Then just let the light play on it, and you'll soon see if you've got any left. Yep, there's one there. Okay, I'll just get that one out of the way. That's cleared all that up, and if I do that with the light, you'll notice there's no reflection. Now that's all clean, I can start to do the inlay. Last episode I said I was going to do a rose inside a cabochon shape or a lozenge shape. What I've decided, if you haven't done marquetry before, that can be a little bit daunting, so I'm going to do a really, really simple 2 or 3 part, maybe 4 part bit of inlay, and I've picked a leaf. Or, if you like, you can do a seashell. Seashells are classics. Go back to the 16, 1700s. There's a lot of shells that have been inlaid into furniture. So I'll show you how to do a shell, and I'll also show you how to do a leaf. For my money, they both look beautiful, but a leaf is easy, and I don't care if you've never done any drawing before. I've been doing some leaves here, just sketching up, and they're fun to do. The thing is, just don't get hung up that it has to be perfect, because it doesn't. It can be anything you like. Now that's the size of the lozenge inlay or cabochon inlay I'm going to use, or if you like, oval. And if I place that on the top, you can see then that it's going to be quite complementary to the size of the lid. What I do, by the way, if you want to know how to make those, if you join up the Woodworking Masterclass e-workshop, which is free, and there will be a video very shortly to show you how I make these ovals. The other thing I do, using the same technique I did last episode, is I also copy that oval into perspex or plexiglass. And then when I'm placing it actually onto the top, I can put down a cover so I know exactly where it's going to go. But as I said, woodworkingmasterclass.com.au, sign up for the free e-workshop, and video will be up there very shortly. So taking this shape, what I do is just draw around it, and you might want to do several of them, because generally the more you do it, the more relaxed you are. The more relaxed you are, the nicer the designs. Now, to make a leaf, I'm using an HB pencil. Just draw any shape you like. It's not too hard. And then you can come in, you don't have to make it the same, like that. At the moment, that doesn't look like a leaf. But if I bring a line in there, a line down there, We put a bit of a sprig up there, and then I put some veins on it. You can see this bit here is a leaf that's actually being folded over. And that's how you can make a leaf. The great thing about marquetry is I just picked these. If you look really closely, if you have a look at the veins of the leaf, you can see they're starting from the stem and they go outwards down towards the bottom. Here's one that's been naturally bent, and you can see the veins going down this way, and yet on the back of the leaf the veins are going back up the leaf. So it really is a wonderful opportunity to take a look at nature and just become more observant, and then you get things, I don't know, in perspective, and they start to look much more natural. I don't know, must be the time for visits, I think. Good boy. Okay, you go and lie down. Where was I up to? Oh, the more you look around nature, the more involved you become with it, the better your woodworking, even your basic woodworking skills. When you look at something, you'll say, oh, that doesn't look right, or the grain's got to change direction, or what have you. But anyway, getting back to leaves. That's how easy it is. So you make a squiggly line, however you want, and then you can do something the other side, join that to a point, and then if we go like that, and then join the line down there, put a sprig coming out the top, and then change these here. All of a sudden there's another leaf we could use. But we've got this little lozenge shape, so we have to draw a leaf inside the lozenge itself. So let's just pick one here. So I just messed that up. I had them going the wrong way. Bob's distracting me, aren't you? Okay, let's do it again. That's the leaf we'll actually work on. Now, to do marquetry, you need tracing paper. I use, I don't know, I think it's called architectural tracing paper. Ordinary greaseproof paper is absolutely fine. It's just if you're using this and you come across a design that you really like, it tends to last a lot longer, therefore you can keep the design and use it again and again. A nice and sharp 2H pencil and some pencil carbon paper. You can get them from newsagents or department stores or even online. It's not that hard to find, but it's not as readily available as it used to be. Or restaurant supply shops, because they give order books with carbon in it, but you want the blue carbon. Okay, this is the design we're doing. Tracing paper over the top, 2H pencil, and just copy that design. Now what I would do at this stage as well is mark in the vein lines, because what we're going to have to do is orientate it to the grain of the veneer we're using. And there you have it. Get a piece of veneer that's looks like leafy stuff. So if it's a brown or an orange, greeny colour, that's fine. So what I've got here is Queensland walnut, and it's interesting because it's got nice shades, and they're very autumny shades, which is good for plant life and good for foliage. You'll notice I've used it before for another job, and it's got the pencil lines on it, so I know which side is up and which side is down. So now take your tracing paper and pick out what pleases you. It's not up to me to tell you what to do or what colours to do, it's what pleases you. So I will then look at this leaf and go, I quite like this piece here, I think. And what I want to do is get the grain running the way I've got it going on the leaf. So it's going down that way, as a real leaf does. The veins run that way. So I'm now going to orientate this veneer so I get the grain running the way that it's running on this leaf. And the way you do it is, if you like, you can place a real leaf down like I have, and make sure that the grain is following those veins. Now put your tracing paper down, hold it in place, carbon paper underneath. Now you can use a 2H pencil for this if you like, or if you really decide you want to get into marquetry in a big way, this is my marquetry box that I keep all my marquetry tools in. You can very easily make your own stylus. Now this one here is just a piece of ebony, and it's got a sticky tape on it. It's got a big darning needle that I've actually drilled a hole in the end of the ebony, turned it, drilled it, and then put this needle down there, which has given me a very fine stylus that I've been using for about 25 years. Alternatively, you can get an old dart, take the flights out, you can use that. You can actually buy styluses from art shops. If you've got any old dentistry tools, you can actually use them as styluses as well. You just shape the ends to whatever suits you. So there's a lot of different ideas you can do in regards to copying designs. I'll use my stylus. If you want, you can tape it down, which might not be a bad idea. The masking tape. That way it's not going to move. You can pick it up, you can move your paper, see how you're going, and then put it back. Put that down there. Pick up my stylus. And now just trace that pattern. This is this side. We can't do this side. You don't do the other side because the veins are going this way. So make sure you've got a nice copy of it. I then, once I've taken that off, is reorientate so the grain in the timber will follow these veins here. Again, put the tape on top so you've got a flap, and we do the other side. So now we've got two shapes. Now I want this bit with the leaf turning over, and if you have a look at a real leaf that's got a natural fold in it, it is darker on the top and lighter on the back. So the part of the leaf that we're doing, if it's going to have a fold over like this leaf has, this part of the drawing here, which is a folder, has to be a lighter part. So now I look for a very light part of the timber and place it about there. To put some more tape on because I ran out of veneer. Carbon under that and trace. So three parts of the leaf, the turnover, one side, the other side. What I do now is get a nice sharp knife. Now, I use a Stanley knife. It's actually a 10-109 which I don't believe they make anymore. You can, however, get similar knives that use the same blade. I'll find out what it is and I'll post it right there when I'm back up doing the editing on this video, and I'll search it on Google for you. But coming back to the knife, what I do now is cut these shapes out very carefully and gently. I don't try and do it in one go. I take my time and gradually cut through the fibres. It's a bit like watching grass grow, but here goes. You do a little bit at a time. If you ever need to sharpen these blades, a little bit of 800, wet and dry, fold it over the edge of the bench and just give it a little bit of a strop. It doesn't take much. Not only do I sharpen this part of the blade, but I also have an edge on this part as well. So just lick it on a bit of 800 and I'm going to stop it right there. And as I said at the beginning, if you want to watch the entire process of me cutting this leaf out, by all means go to www.woodworkingmasterclass.com.au, sign up for the free e-workshop and the video will be posted there. And next week we'll go on with finishing this box to another stage, and I'll actually inlay the leaf that I built on the e-workshop. So this is Steve, for real, pulling the shed door down for another episode and saying, remember to keep it sharp, but more importantly, keep it safe, enjoy your woodwork, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.